Hello, we are live, and I'm super excited, like I am every day, every time I do a show. But welcome to the Lynn and Sheryl show. I'm Lynn Serrano, and
And
you are?
I'm Cheryl. So,
Hi, Sheryl. And today I'm excited because we're going to have Cheryl's other half with us here in a moment. Jerry Eisenhower is just an amazing guy. I love him to death, and he's going to give us some great information today. So we will be right back with Jerry after this. Welcome back. Welcome, Jerry, to our stage. Would you
Well,
like
good
to?
afternoon. Appreciate you having me here.
Yes. Would you like to introduce your husband, Sheryl? Any
uh,
words?
I think we already have, but this is Jerry Eisenhower. He is a coach and trainer, has been in the chimney service industry for more years than he may want me to give the number to. He can go there if he likes. But today he's going to be talking about some spring cleaning, for lack of a better word.
Yay. Welcome, Jerry.
I
W-
appreciate being here, Lynn. Cheryl, good to be with you on here today.
Oh, it's our honor and it's our pleasure. I mean, I love the fact that you're one of those modest, humble guys that all you do are you're giving, caring, loving guy, and that's one of the things I love about you. And some of our audience may not realize that. Well, a lot of homes have chimneys, and even my daughter, she has one, and she doesn't use it because she's got one that's like three sides. I think is the fireplace. In the center, it's living room and dining room area. She's got a 2-year-old, but eventually she's going to need these tips that I want to have you share with us. I mean, spring cleaning. I mean, most people they've got so many things to prepare, but I was wondering, is a chimney sweeper person, are they ones that are busy this time of year, or do people wait till the last minute, or what would you recommend, and all
Well,
that?
Lynn, the American consumer is well known for waiting till the last minute, as we all know. We usually don't take care of stuff until it breaks down and we have a problem and those kind of things. So there's a couple problems with that. Number one, if you decide to wait to have this service done until the fall, you're probably going to find that the company you called could be backed up not only weeks, but some of them are backed up for months because that's what everybody does. But there's advantages to doing it this time of year, such as if you have soot, you have creosote in the chimney, that is actually an acidic material. It's also a carcinogenic material. So by leaving it in there, you're going to cause undue corrosion and your chimney and fireplace system is going to age prematurely. Another factor is if you leave it in there, then you're going to be pulling harmful contaminants into your home. Like I said, these are carcinogenic. And the word carcinogenic means it is a cancer causing substance. So, one of the things we work for in the chimney service industry is providing cleaner environments for homes and also a cleaner environment outside by making the system perform better.
Jerry, also, um, many people think that the only time you need to clean the chimney is if you have a wood burning appliance. Would you like to elaborate on the other reasons?
Yeah, and you're exactly right. If you have a fuel oil heating system, if you have a natural gas fired system, if you have a wood burning stove, whatever, pellets or whatever, all these do have venting systems. And there is a national safety board. It's called the National Fire Protection Association. And they have a standard called the 211 standard. So, in the 211 standard by the National Fire Protection Association, they recommend that the chimney be inspected on an annual basis. Even if it's not used like yours, Lynn, we could have animals in that chimney. We could have other things that are in that chimney. So no matter what the appliance is, it is a venting system and it should be clean. It should be inspected on an annual basis and then swept as needed. You may find that you don't need the bees actually swept every year, maybe it's every 2 to 3 years. But the important thing is that inspection, because a lot of times you could be having problems going on, such as water entry that is deteriorating your chimney, that could cost you some really high dollar repairs unless you're maintaining it. Also,
Lynn's mic's off. Also, Jerry, while she's getting her mic on, I understand we find bodies in there once in a while.
Yes, that's very true. In fact, if you go back in the history, if we went back in the Victorian England stages, and at that time we had what was called climbing boys. That actually we had chimney masters that actually purchased children from orphanage or from their parents, and actually put them out cleaning chimneys. And in those days, what they did was they actually had the child would actually crawl through the chimney and get stuck in there. So that was one instance of bodies found in chimneys. Another problem is people actually break in the homes going down the chimneys. There are times that a chimney sweep will discover, believe it or not, a dead body from a human being that was actually lodged in the chimney that broke into the chimney. These hit quite often. We also have a case many times that a child comes home late, comes home from school, and there's not a parent there and they've lost their key. So we have cases of children actually getting on a roof using some really weird ways to get on the roof, and then they crawl down the chimney, but they get stuck because the chimney has turns and offsets. So that's happened quite often. In fact, Sheryl, if you'll remember, we were actually sitting in our office probably 20 years ago, and there was a news report come over from WSOC that there was a child stuck in the chimney system, and the fire department was there having to get the child out. So yeah, there's all kinds of things that can be in your chimney, even your children.
And Jerry, I'm sad to say, I thought you were going to tell me about Santa Claus getting stuck in the chimney, and you didn't.
Well, Santa Claus has a little bit of magic with him, but often, so you'll know, we will find tattered pieces of red flannel that Santa Claus has actually tore his clothes coming down the chimney. So it's really amazing. And be honest with you, I've actually found these pieces of Santa Claus and pull them out of a chimney when I was actually sweeping chimneys many years ago. And if you want to see a child's eyes light up,
Oh,
pick out a piece of red flannel and hand it to the child and say, "Hey, it looks like Santa Claus tore his britches getting down your chimney last time."
oh, you gave me chills. That's the story I wanted to hear. Not all the sad ones about no, but people have house fires and things, and they don't realize the importance of checking out. And we had a squirrel chew through the side of our house and get into our furnace, which wasn't a chimney, but it's the same concept, down the whole chute and everything. And so it is scary when you think that animals can, you know, get in there. And that's probably an odor that people didn't realize why their house that stank so much too.
Well, it is, and the amazing thing is, you talked about it can get into your furnace, but I've also seen cases where a squirrel would come down through the chimney into the fireplace and no one was home. And maybe they were on vacation and came back a week later, and the squirrel has tore their house to pieces,
Dude,
chewed up the furniture, chewed up the woodwork, has done some massive damage to houses in those situations.
Jerry, I used to lock my bedroom door upstairs because I didn't want my brothers and sisters and my surround sound and my bikes and all this stuff. One day, I unlocked my lock. I go to turn on the light, and right at my bed, there was a squirrel so close to me. Ah! I ran out of there and ran down the stairs, and my brother tried to chase him from my room, and that's how he ended up in the vent. But I'll
Well,
tell you what, I was scared. That squirrel was like, hello. Oh, I was so scared. Kid you
yeah,
not.
you could have been a candidate for America's Funniest Home Videos.
Oh gosh.
If there had been a video camera on showing you
Back.
there screaming around, just think of where you'd be today.
Oh my gosh. I was horrified. I was so scared out of my mind. I was like, yeah, it was my brother chased him around my room, and it was awful. But yeah, that's a scary and true thing. So it's
Yeah,
really
but Lynn, see, there's other problems such as, believe it or not, that many chimneys have concealed issues inside the chimney. And these concealed issues are where the wood is placed too close to the chimney, because chimneys have clearances from the framing members. If it's an interior chimney coming through your home, it's supposed to have a 2-inch clearance to combustible materials. If it's an exterior chimney, it's supposed to have a 1-inch clearance to combustibles, but many chimneys do not have this. So what we're doing is you know, I do coaching, I do training. So we train a lot of chimney sweeps, and we train them on how to use diagnostic tools such as infrared cameras, moisture meters that can detect the moisture in there. We have all kinds of diagnostic tools, and that's what I spend a lot of my time. In fact, right before we came on, I just recorded, I believe, 6 short, we call them tidbit courses that are on my online training platform for chimney service professionals.
Wow.
And
So
Jerry,
go
I,
ahead.
a lot of times, Jerry, the people think the idea to fix their chimneys to go up and close it off. And many times you and I have, we've actually been in a house which was building up carbon monoxide from doing the exact same thing. Would you like to talk a little more on that?
Yeah, the incident that Cheryl is talking about is that we had some friends that invited us over for dinner one night. And as I was sitting in the house, I just felt weird. And see, that's what CO poisoning is. Carbon monoxide poisoning makes you feel very similar to flu symptoms. Okay. You just get a real woozy feeling. You're not feeling good and those kind of things. So as we left that night, I told Cheryl, I said, Cheryl, I don't know how to tell them. I forget what their names were, but I think they have a chimney problem. I said, and I need to let them know. So I contacted them the next day and say, listen, guys, I'm not doing this for business or any other purpose, but I think you have a problem. And what was happening, I was kind of sick last night. And I think, are you heating your house with gas? And they said, yes. I said, okay, here's what I want to do. I'm going to send the crew up to check your chimney out and just make sure it's okay. And she said, you know, is that why our bedroom closet is getting so hot? I said, wait a minute, tell me more. She said, well, if you go into our closet, the chimney from the furnace goes up through the closet. I said, this could be a really big thing. So when I went there, we inspected the chimney, and what we found was they had a lot of roofing debris. What they had done, they had had a new roof put on the previous months before we were there. And this is really common where a roofer will set their materials, their tools on top of a chimney, and then they will fall down into the chimney. So we pulled out a couple feet of roofing debris out of that chimney to allow it to properly vent. Because if it's not properly venting, then you're producing carbon monoxide, other types of toxic gases, and they're going to back in your home. And if they're backing in your home, it's going to make you sick. You know, luckily, you might just get sick. But the other side of this, a lot of times, a lot of people, they go to sleep and don't wake up. There was a case in Hickory, North Carolina, a couple of years ago where there was actually the venting system for a pool was vented up through the building next to a hotel room. And they had 3 people that perished in that hotel room. One perished first by himself one night, and they didn't investigate it. Later on, 2 people died in that same room, and that's when they started doing the investigation and found out that the venting system for the pool heater was not venting properly, and it was killing the people in that certain hotel room. These kind of things go on all the time, and it's really a really bad situation. Lynn, I do a broadcast show so people are aware, and it's called the Fireplace Show, and it is based for consumers. So what we do on the Fireplace Show is we explain a lot of the issues that people have in their chimneys. It's based for consumers to watch. You can find it on Facebook on the Fireplace Show, which is a Facebook page, and also it's on our website. You can see our podcasts we have there and our broadcasts like this. But that's one of the things we try to do in our company is we try to help educate the consumers across America of what their problems are in their chimneys, in their fireplaces, at wood stoves.
I thank you for that information, and we'll go ahead and follow through. If Cheryl, after you can make comments in the comment section, and I'll make sure to put the comments into the YouTube area as well for more information on that. We'll follow up with that, and I'll have the information and notes on the podcast when I upload that podcast too, because I think this is really important. It's one of those things where, you don't give too much credence because I'm not using that fireplace, but you might have those animals or debris or things that are, you know, um, messing with your air quality or your life in the silent death. And that's a travesty when it can be prevented by just having somebody come by and check your chimney every year or so, or
Right.
whatever is recommended. So thank
Right.
you so much.
Yeah, and Lynn, so you're aware, like I mentioned earlier, this is one of the big danger signs. It's not just that's some of it there where we have improper venting and we have combustion products that are coming back in the home, making people sick, long-term health effects. Believe it or not, CO can cause dementia and early onset of Alzheimer's. In other words, it can damage your brain just a little bit. So when you look around, you might want to look, you see some people that are acting like they got a little bit of wackiness. It might be because they're not venting their systems properly. But our big issue is also what we call pyrolysis, or it is also called vaporization. And what this is where there is wood too close to the chimney system. So the heat transfer goes to that wood. And as it goes to that wood, the wood goes through a process we used to call pyrolysis, but now we call it vaporization. So what's happening is we are vaporizing the moisture that's in that combustible material, the house framing. And then the vapor is leaving the material, which dries it out. So the ignition point of that wood gets much, much less. If we take brand new wood that your house is built out of, it's going to take about 650 degrees for that wood to ignite. But as it goes through the pyrolysis, the vaporization stage, what happens is the ignition temperature of that wood gets lower and lower. Now, it may just drop a percentage of a degree each time it happens. But after 30, 40, 50 years of use, what's going to happen is it's going to drop dramatically. And what we find in testing of these materials is our ignition point is actually at 178 degrees Fahrenheit. And this temperature can easily be transferred from the chimney itself to wood if it's touching it. And that's one of our issues. 178 degrees is not enough to even burn you. It's going to feel kind of hot, but it's not near the boiling temperature. So if you touch something that's that warm, your hand's not going to get burnt, but you're going to feel the heat. So these are the problems that are across America. I mean, this is nothing that's odd. It's something we find every single day out there. And also, Cheryl didn't include this part. I also work as a court witness. In other words, I'm the guy that gets called in when there's been a fire by an insurance company related to what caused this fire. So I see a lot of fires 10, 20, 30 years after this house was built, where now it's now we have the problem. Last year, there's a noted TV personality. Her name was Rachel Ray. And Rachel
Mhm.
Ray and her husband lost their home, their newer home, to a chimney fire because of the heat that transferred to these combustible materials.
Wow, like I said, it's important information that I'm glad we have, and we'll have on my podcast for referrals in the future, because it is very important. And anything you can do to just have your home be safe, and it's just an eye opener and a lot of information to take. So I thank you so much for being here, and I thank you. I feel like we should have you back quite a few other times too. So
Well,
hope.
anytime, like I said, and like I said, the people do the research. You can go to our website at CBC Success Group. You can look our podcast up there. We have two of them, and the one that would interest the consumer is the Fireplace Show. You can also go onto our YouTube channel, which is CBC Coaching, and there you'll find our broadcasts when they come out. I broadcast live on my Facebook pages. I just did one Monday night, and it was all about for a consumer, how to make a decision to buy a new wood stove or fireplace insert. So, hey, we're glad to help people anytime that we can, any way we can.
Well, you're saving lives when knowledge is power, and so when people have this knowledge, the little things you can do to not have, that you can fix, don't ignore them. It's very important. It can save your life and your family and your loved ones. And so,
Exactly. You're
thank
exactly right, Lynn.
yeah. And I know you're a compassionate, caring guy. So now I really see what fuels your fire. No pun intended. But I love having you, and I love that smile. Cheryl, do you have anything to say before we leave?
No, believe me, I live this every day. So if for some reason you can't get a hold of Jerry, you can get a hold of Lynn or myself, and we'll get
Yes.
the messages on to him. If you have any concerns at all, have them checked out, because that's the one concern that if you don't it could cause a lot of problems.
Right.
Yeah.
Lynn, let me add this in. If
Yes.
you're looking at contracting and having someone to come to your home, one of the things that a consumer wants to look for is make sure that the technician that's coming their home is certified. This means they have been tested, they're taking training, those kind of things. There's two organizations that certify chimney sweeps in the United States. One is the National Chimney Sweep Guild, and you can reach their website at ncsg.org, and you can find a listing and a chimney sweep that's certified, the technician in your market area. The other is the Chimney Safety Institute of America. Their website is csia.org. In my past, Lynn, so you're aware, I was president of both of those groups for a total of 6 years. So that's part of what the consumer can look for, because you certainly want to find someone who's competent to come in and do this diagnostics of what they're seeing there and give you a strategy for proper, safe, and healthy venting of your appliances.
Thank you so much. Like I said, this was so informative. In just 20 minutes, we got a lot in, and I hope that you guys, if you care, share, because this is definitely information that should be out there. So I want to thank you again for being here, Jerry and Cheryl.
Anytime.
I love you very much. And Cheryl, as always great to have you as my partner in crime. And so everyone, maybe I have a question here, but hey, Scott, you'll have to watch this. It's very informative. Thanks for stopping by. Okay, you guys, we are out of here. Have a great day, and we'll see you next week.